God of mercy, we ask for blessings on our gathering today, honoring the Filipino-American veterans, living and dead, and those who have served our countries in the armed forces. We ask for healing from the war pains of veterans who have been wounded in body and traumatized spirits, and give them your mercy for the poor soul victims of the World War II. Lead us all here present today with primitive vision to see your word that, growing weary with fighting, moves to affirming the life of every human being and so moves beyond war. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen. In the name of the Father, and the Spirit, Son.
Thank you, Father Ramos. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Our soloist is Tess Guerzon Cabrera, a Seattleite, born and raised in the Seattle area. Tess is the daughter of the late Zenaida Quintabella Guerzon, who is an entrepreneur, real estate investor in the Seattle Public Schools as teacher, activist, and former executive director of the International Drop-In Center. Tess is a graduate of Seattle University with a degree in public administration. Is active in the community and most recently spearheaded the Resolve Park Jazz Festival in Seattle's Beacon Avenue. She is currently on the board of Filipino Chamber of Commerce of the Pacific Northwest and has been a realtor for the past 30 years. She is also fluent in Tagalog, singing the national anthem. Please welcome Tess Guerzon Cabrera. Shall we write? Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight are the ramparts we watch were so gallantly gleaming, and the rockets rain glare, our bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Good job, Bill.
Thank you so much. Now we will continue with the Philippine National Anthem.
Bayan madilim, pero ang sinangalan, alam ng puso, sa dilim mo'y buhay, lupang hirang, diyan na lang nagingiti, salang lulubi, di pa kasisiil, sa dagat at putok, sa simo at sa langit ng buhay, may dilat ang tula at awit pa, pagbalang minamahal, at islap ng wata, watu'y tagumpay na naninilig, ang bitawin at araw ng kailan, pag may nagdidilim, lupa ng araw ng lahat, ipasinta, buhay at lagi sa piling mo. Aming ligaya na pag may maaapi, ang mamatay na dahil sa'yo.
Thank you, Tess. That was wonderful. I'd like to acknowledge that we have today with us several VFW commanders, leaders of our veterans organizations. I'd like to acknowledge an organization called Heroes Cafe from Linwood, Washington. If they would just please stand as I call out their name. Gary Waterman from Linwood. Larry Fisher from Post 227, and John Stapleton from Edmonds, Washington, Post 8857. And I received an email from you, Rose Galan. I'm not sure if she's here. There she is. Edmonds, Washington. They're here to support their veterans. We'd like to show a 6-minute video which explains a little bit about the Congressional Gold Medal and how it came to fruition. So we're going to dim the lights and we're going to have Travis turn it on.
With the winds of war blowing in the Pacific, President Roosevelt uses his constitutional authority on July 26, 1941, and orders into service of the United States all of the organized military forces of the Philippines.
Everyone knows about Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, but perhaps lesser known is that within hours, Japanese forces also invaded the Philippines. 250,000 Filipinos answered President Roosevelt's call to duty.
Many enlisted knowing full well that the enemy could discover who they were and retaliate against their families.
These loyal and courageous soldiers fought bravely, sacrificed greatly, many even paying the ultimate price.
Every Filipino who went to Europe was made to understand that we were fighting not only for our country, but also for the American people.
The 260,000 Filipino men and women who fought under the American flag were vital to the Allied victory.
Those brave men who promised citizenship and fair compensation bravely took up arms who fought alongside American soldiers on the beaches of far-flung islands, who suffered the unspeakable brutality of Japanese POW camps and died alongside American soldiers in the infamous Bataan Death March.
The casualties during this one-week march without food or water are staggering. Nearly 700 Americans and close to 10,000 Filipinos perish.
In resistance, they held aloft the spirit of the people for all the world to see, unbent, standing tall, enduring still.
MacArthur returns with the U.S. Armada in October 1944. The combined forces of the U.S. troops and Filipino guerrillas quickly rout the Japanese.
In return for their valor and sacrifice, the American government promised them citizenship and the benefits entitled to all veterans. In 1946, however, Congress sadly, shamefully, reneged on this promise and refused to grant these veterans the citizenship and benefits they earned. But even in the face of such adversity, these veterans never gave up. They organized and fought for what they had earned. In 1990, after decades of advocacy, Congress finally fulfilled President Roosevelt's promise and awarded American citizenship to these veterans.
We honor them as an inseparable part of the fabric of our community and our country.
Let this ceremony serve to ensure that those who fought for freedom are never forgotten and are always remembered.
This is a story that needs to be told again and again so that our country does not forget.
I am Celestino Almeida, a 100-year-old veteran of World War II. The saying goes, all soldiers never die. They just fade away.
I want my grandchildren and their grandchildren to know this story of courage and duty to country. Future generations must never forget why we are able to live our way of life today. We must always remember.
Every time I see this video, it always tears me up. Wasn't that great? We're going to have a song called Bayan Co, and it's by the Barriotics from Seattle. This is about a song of the native land of the Philippines. And to sing with us today is Roger Rigor. I apologize, I do not know their two names, but you'll hear from them again in a little bit.
This song is a song that translates to my country. And this was a song that was sung not too long ago, in 1986, when the People Power Revolution galvanized everyone, based on this song.
Thank you, Roger. We're very honored today, and I want to just briefly introduce the people who are responsible for today's event, as we have a few more coming in. You all know Brigadier General Oscar Hillman. He's here, and he is our director for the Filipino Veterans. He's the man that cracks the whip and tells his deputy directors, this is what I envision, and we carry it out. So thanks to him and his leadership. Also, I'd like to introduce our registrar, Alan Figueroa. Beware, if your name is not on his list, you're not eligible to receive the Congressional Gold Medal, so you gotta be nice to him. I'd also like to introduce Al Cosio, who many of you know. He is the Columbus Chapter President, Philippine Federation Society. Introduce retired Major Alan Acosta, who will be making a presentation in a little while. He's been a big source of help. And today we're very fortunate to have the Sergeant Audie Murphy's Club from the JBLM. They're sitting over here, and they will be our escort for our veterans and their next of kin family coming up this afternoon. So, I'm fine. One of the things that we are required to do when we present the Congressional Gold Medal is representation from our congressional leaders. We are fortunate today to have a letter from Senator Patty Murray, of which each recipient will be receiving a letter, but I would like to read her message to the event. Dear friends, thank you for inviting me to this year's Congressional Gold Medal ceremony, honoring the courage and sacrifice of our Filipino and American World War II veterans. While I regret I cannot be there with you, I wish to extend my sincere gratitude to the men and women who demonstrated incredible dedication to our country. On behalf of the Washington State Congressional Delegation, I join our community in celebrating their courageous legacy. As a voice for our state in the Senate, one of my top priorities is making sure our country honors the sacrifice of veterans and their families and takes care of them after they return from their duty. I am proud of the work the Filipino Veterans Recognition and Education Project, our Washington State delegation, and the veterans and their families have done to lead the way in telling their stories of courage and service. I know that we are all grateful beyond measure for the sacrifices made by these service members and their families. There is no higher honor Congress can bestow than the Congressional Gold Medal. With this recognition, know that the distinguished service of men and women honored today will be remembered for years to come, both here and in the other Washington. While there is still much work left to be done to ensure all veterans and their families have the support and resources they need to thrive, as a senior member of the Senate Veterans Affairs Committee, know that I will continue fighting for the recognition and benefits all veterans deserve, and that you will always have a partner in me. Thank you again for inviting me to today's celebration and for coming together to commemorate our community's Filipino and American World War II veterans. Please accept my best wishes for a successful and enjoyable event. Thank you, Senator Patty Murray. For each of the letters that the recipients will receive today, she has taken the time to personalize them and identify the veteran's name when it's possible. So apologies in advance if your veteran's name or your veteran's letter says dear friends, because some of you were added on at the last minute. Follow along with me on our program today. And we're at the keynote speaker part. I'd like to read just a brief bio that's been revised again for the second time today, because his accolades are so long, I had to have him cut it down. But I have the pleasure of introducing my friend and director, Brigadier General Oscar Bautista Hillman. He was born in Limanan, Camarines Sur, Philippines. In 1968, he immigrated to the United States and became a Washington resident. After graduation from Central Washington University, he enlisted in the United States Army. He rose in rank from platoon sergeant and was commissioned second lieutenant and worked his way to general. He was later given command of the 81st Armored Brigade, in which he was responsible for the training, deployment, and mobilization to Iraq. Upon his return to Washington in 2005, he was assigned as the Deputy Commanding General for I Corps and Fort Lewis until his retirement in 2007. He attended Army Command and General Staff College, where he received his Master of Science degree in Strategic Science. His civilian accolades include the 2010 American by Choice Award. Brigadier General Hillman serves as Chairman of Advisory Committee of Minority Veterans, Chairman of JBLM Retiree Council, President of Filipino Community Alliance of Tacoma, is a lifetime member of Association of U.S. Army, U.S. Army War College, and of the National Guard Association of the United States. Brigadier General Hillman resides in Tacoma with his wife Patty. They have 4 children and 9 grandchildren. What's not included in his bio is what I personally know of him, his passion for equity, fairness, and commitment to community service, and his sense of humor. Like most Filipino men, he loves to dance and is pretty good too. Next to his love of his wife Patty and his family, he loves golfing and will rearrange his busy schedule just to get in 2 to 3 rounds of golf a week. Ladies and gentlemen, please give us a round welcome for Brigadier General Oscar Hillman.
Thank you, Calvin. Does it happen to you that many times the script and my script are combined So I'm going to leave it there. Thank you, Thelma and George, her husband in the back. Well, there's Thelma, there's George. I also want to echo my sincere thanks to Alan Congressional. A lot of you have dealt with him. He's a sergeant major, retired sergeant major from the Army. Very ethical. I trust him with records keeping, because eventually it's going to be archived, the records that we turn in, to justify the receipt of Congressional vote. And Alan is he spent time, and I could never find a person to manage 420 records in going. So it's just got a binder for everything. Then my friends in uniform, Lieutenant Colonel Olivia Angeles, she's the chief nurse at the American Emergency Room. She took care of me a lot of times without favoritism. And we were together in Iraq also. Lieutenant Argel Rubin will be doing a part of that. His unit just returned from deployment in Afghanistan. Colonel Price will be here also in that presentation, and thank you for taking the time. And an Audie Murphy soldier, can you say your name, please? Thank you. And then behind is the Alba family. Truly a military family. Angie and Elizabeth, Sergeant Major Alba Sergeant Major Alba commands the 62nd Medical Brigade. He also and I were in Iraq along with Olivia. So you can see the connection there. Master Sergeant, did you get one more start? No? Okay. Now, he says, some of you raise your hand. Have you heard of Sergeant Audie Murphy Flood? Have you? Oh, they're very elite. You know, it's not like you hand it down the medal or go to the PX, exchange and buy a medal. They had requirements, both oral and verbal, and hands-on tests. Well, thank you for coming. You've been supporting us the last 6 years. My wife said I need to tell you all my full name. My name is Oscar Espirito Bautista de la Cruz. So if you're in that category, we're cousins. I'm adopted by a U.S. Navy. My dad retired as an electronic chief technician, passed away last year at age 96. And I'm very grateful for what he did for me and my sister. So let's move on. This is our 6th Congressional Gold Medal, and every year it's getting better and better. I have a great team. My region covers Alaska, Washington, Idaho, Oregon, and Thelma. Is there anything I missed? Okay, we have done presentations in those states, either by email or anything else. We have folks from California and other states, in Canada, that want to come to Washington because Washington would like. And I'm very proud of that. And if you see the duty to country, how many of you joined me when we went to Washington, duty to country? George, Jesse, the Mocoros. What else? You know, you see the bottom of the film, who said what? Speaker Ryan, Speaker of the House Pelosi. It's taken from history. So what is, just to summarize that, they have better speechwriter staff than I, but I'm going to tell you, from 1898 to 1946 were a Commonwealth of the United States. They draft Filipinos, 250,000. The other speaker said 260,000 to serve the war. The war only lasted for 4 months, and the largest surrender in U.S. history was to the Condemned March and the fall of Corridor. You still following me? The Filipinos and Americans fought from the war since the surrender. You picture that from April, May 1942 to 1946. No resupply, no ammunition, nothing. Fought in the jungle. The toughest war, in my mind, in United States history. After the Philippine independence, the recession act came. A lot of you know pretty much the recession act. It rescinded all the benefits for the Filipinos that fought in the war and recognized guerrilla of their benefits. It's not until 1990, according to that veterans of the World War II were given U.S. citizenship. So that's. It's not until 2004 until President Obama signed the Filipino Equity Act. Not very much, 15,000 for those that live in the U.S. and 9,000 for those veterans. Bottom line is you're not veteran, we're just compensating. So there's no VA entitlement, there's no benefits, there's no hospital. That's it. Pay you one time, just kind of like being laid off in a worker and say goodbye. So that's really the recession. So from 1941 to 2017, it wasn't a single award. The award that the Filipinos and American veterans asked is no price to the United States. The Congressional Gold Medal. We were the last ethnic group that received the Congressional Gold Medal. We even followed the Puerto Rican. We followed the Puerto Rican. So I'm saying is, with a lot of hard work, because when this bill was introduced to Congress, it was election year. It was the last bill that Congress approved was buried during the election. So, this really ties, when we say preservation of legacy. And I get emotional with that because I know every one of your lolo, your uncle, your relatives deserve more than Congressional Gold Medal. And for you, how many of you here are grandson, granddaughter who did the paperwork for their loan? There's a lot. That means, and I'm really proud of that. The granddaughter, the grandson, the nieces search. And it's not easy because there were two sets of records. One's at the Philippine veterans and one at the United States Army. Then you hear about the St. Louis fire. You can locate the records. Or maybe to the Philippine Bank, so those that, I know all of you did. I admire you and thank you for submitting who you represent today to receive the Congressional Gold Medal. One last thing. I mentioned about when I wore the uniform and retired, I said in any part of the interview, I'm not very good asking for money. I'd rather sell real estate or brand new car than ask for money. And I became thick-skinned. I said, each one of the recipient had to buy, and we said, no, you're not going to pay for this. You deserve more than this. So Washington and all the team here in Washington State, we raised the highest money. In fact, they asked me, how come you still have money? I'm sorry. How come you still have Congressional gold medal? The Colugas chapter, Al Cocio, in company, in the back, they donated and bought Congressional gold medal. How about a handful? Yeah. Why did you forget? The last piece, I was talking about funds. The second part of this project, as Public Law 11265 passed by Congress, is the educational project. What it means, starting this month, we contracted Smithsonian to have the history of the Philippines in 4 parts. One is the pre-war, second is the war, post-war, then the new generations, the contemporaries, from 2021 and beyond, which is good. My daughter didn't see any one of these Filipino history or Filipino facility, And she was here today, came from Denver. She said, Dad, I miss all of that. I said, it's not too late, there's a film in Denver, I know that. So what I'm saying is, that's going to be interactive, web-based, that they want to learn about Filipino history, they click. Now, Thelma is ahead of the plan. She invited the person that wrote the curriculum. She also invited professors from the University of the Philippines, and start the dialogue. And they'll be back here at Seattle University. So it's good. So when we're asking you, to help us, like I said, I'm not very good at asking anything, to help us continue the program because it's for the next generation. It's for the next generation. The Guba, bless him, he started this route. He's a son of Philippine Scouts. There's Sorianos, a son of Philippine Scouts. General Eldest, son of Philippine Scouts. A lot of Master Majors and Chiefs and Admirals there, We work hard, to preserve our history, And I tried to learn in Tagalog, how do you say, preserve our legacy. Do I get any help? Any volunteers? How do you say in Tagalog, preserve your legacy? That the priest left, but he could help me. Okay, I cheated. I called a professor from the Philippines, and he said, pangpagalangan sa pamana. Pamana means will, but it's close enough. So I want to thank you and I will proceed to the Congressional gold medal.
Thank you, Oscar. Okay, let's get my steps go back up. Thank you. I hope you got a lot out of that because I don't think Oscar indicated that we've been working pretty closely for the last 4 years, identifying our Region 8 veterans. And someone stopped me as I was trying to come in the door this afternoon and said, how do I get my father to get his medal? And I said, we'll cover that. Then I realized I didn't cover that in my presentation. I don't have it, but I think Oscar may have. So he didn't say it, but there is a website. You need to go in, study that. download the application, www.fieldreprep.org. There's an application and some requirements that you have to produce. So if that person is in the audience, I think that's you there. You have to do it pretty soon because Region 8 is wrapping up, I think, our Congressional Gold Medal Award ceremony. We really need to move into the phase, which is the sustenance of the program, and go into the education phase. So we're going to start moving on into the Congressional Award ceremony. A little bit of housekeeping. Let's see. In your program, you've got a list of veterans that we're receiving today, or names of veterans. And awarding, there will be Brigadier General Oscar Hillman, and there's Alan, and Major Alan Acosta. And the gentleman on the far left, what are they doing?
Make it short for me. Those in uniform come out on the stage, please.
Okay. Those in uniform, please come up to the stage. So as you see, we have all the medals in the front. I hope you've had a chance to take a picture because they're going to be disappearing. And we are calling them in alphabetical order. And if you are next of kin and you need an escort, we have one lady who is Antolin Acoponda, represented by Pat Hobby. We have a 30-second photo op. So if you are interested in taking a photo of Ms. Hobby as she receives a Congressional Gold Medal for Philippine Scout Antolin Acoponda, please do so.
We made the first one. So we're good to go.
The next one is the lady Esteban Alfonso, represented by Neri Alfonso. Where's the photographer? And the next one is the late Gregorio Alicaba, represented by Jojo Alicaba. The next veteran is the late Andres Aquinde, represented by Alan Acosta. It's you. Oh, your dad. Oh, wonderful. I think this gentleman is from Minnesota, right? Did he travel to Michigan? next veteran is the late Aurelio Bautista, represented by Ernesto Bautista. Congratulations. Next veteran is the late Laureano Carino, represented by Fernandito Carino. Crescenciana Carlos, represented by her niece, Melody Carlos. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand. Our next recipient is Mr. Amos Chapman, Jr., living veteran. Represented by himself. I was surprised to find out that Mr. Chapman still drives. He drives himself to the Heroes Cafe every month. He remembers so vividly the day that the enemy torpedo hit his ship, the USS Killen. I looked it up on the web. The USS Killen was designed and produced here in the Pacific Northwest. He was in the Battle of Leyte, October 20, 1944. The next recipient is Remigio A. Cruz, represented by his son Arlen Cruz. He was already in the United States when war broke out, and I guess he tried to enlist, but then he ended up enlisting in Hawaii. So he might have been part of the 1st and 2nd Regiment, but that's never been confirmed. Our next recipient is Juan M. Duyan, represented by his daughter Cynthia. Cynthia Duyan Aranca. I did a little research on some of these veterans. I found out that her father, Mr. Duyan, was quite a leader during the war and later became a congressman in the Philippines. Our next veteran is the late Jose Aisma, represented by Jojo Alicala. Our next veteran is Severo Flores, represented by his daughter, Linda. Coming up are his 3 children, Linda, Teresa, and Larry. Seattle. And now, the story I know about this family is that he enlisted in Louisiana and served over 50 years in the U.S. Navy. Our next veteran is the late Feliciano Fontanilla, represented by Feliciano Fontanilla, Jr. Our next veteran is the late Maximo Foronda, represented by Maximo Foronda, Jr. The late Elmer Fry, represented by Deborah Hansen, his daughter. I understand that Mr. Fry is still living. And living where? In Alaska. Oh, wonderful. Our next veteran is the late John Lally, represented by his widow, Mrs. Debbie Lally, accompanied by his son, John.
Dr. Lally came all the way from Switzerland.
Our next veteran may or may not be here. We did not hear from him. Leandro Mandapat. Is he here? No. We'll set him aside. We'll try again. Our next veteran is the late Andro Marana, represented by his daughter Rachel, or Ramon, his son Ramon. The next veteran is the late Hilario Miranda, represented by his daughter Margie Miranda. Margie Miranda, Portugal. Veteran is the late Domingo Monzon, represented by his son, Domingo Monzon Jr. The next veteran is Filipino Ramacho, represented by his niece Thelma Sevilla. The next one is the late Moises Soria. Did the Soria make it here? No, they did not. Our next one is Loriana Soriano, represented by Winston Soriano.
They came all the way from Canada.
Our next veteran is still living. As I mentioned earlier, he had priorities and chose to go to Kansas to work on his farm. Representing Merlin Stats are his daughter and son, Wes and Shelley. Mr. Gregorio Bobby, represented by Marla Transfiguration. And our final, oh, I see I got one more, I have two more. Oh, okay, so it is Catalino Aloy.
This is our last week in 8th and approved. I just met her this morning and we approved this application.
Is this his widow? Represented by his widow. Oh, we're doing the Reyes family also. Again? Oh, who is this family? Okay, I will have Mr. Figueroa announce it. Oh, Mr. Reyes, represented by Victor, his grandson, correct? All right. And now we'll go back to Mr. Jolly Terry. Not here today. They're a Catalino Aloin. Oz. That concludes our award ceremony. As you can see, we have a Philippine flag there too. Thank you, Flag. Oh, yes, we forgot. Mr. Sobriano, Maximo Sobriano, represented by Alan Acosta. Hey, you know what? These people cheated on me. They added these two at the last minute, so I apologize for that.
Some of these awardees I was working on Thursday night, yesterday morning, today morning. So, very relaxed.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. We're going to do a group photo.
No, that's too much logistics. We just go down here.
Thank you, gentlemen
Don't
and ladies.
Don't leave yet, because we still have.
Yeah, we have a couple more things here for you. So please, bear with us. Oh, yeah.
Out of 4 years bored when we take the sofa.
So you want to go online and look at the website for that graph. Give us some time to post it though before you start doing that. So we have a nice treat. We've got the audio text that's going to come back and sing for us a much-loved song of the Philippines, following Roger.
Yes, this time we'd like to bring a popular Hindiman song that I'm sure most of our military guys here know about. It's called Dahil Sa'yo, or in English it's called Because of You. We hope you like it. Sing along with us.
Sa'yo
I'd like to invite Art Cruz, whom I know from many, many years back, not because he was in our wedding entourage over 2 years ago, but because he and his family have been long-time members of the Tacoma area. So I invited him to give the acceptance and gratitude on behalf of all the families today who received the Congressional Gold Medal. Please give him a round.
Good afternoon, and it's a great honor actually to be in front of you. And, I'm very grateful for the opportunity to stand on behalf of my family, the family, as well as the other Filipino and American veterans of World War II families who were honored today. This is a once-in-a-lifetime, event. And I know that, everyone knows that, and this will forever be in our memories. It is something that, it's a story that we're going to be telling to our friends, our family, for generations to come. It is a significant event, and one that will be in American history and Filipino history, in the future. I want to thank specifically the representatives for the Filipino Veteran Recognition and Education Project, Region 9. I'm sure that okay. First of all, I want to say thank you to Brigadier General Oscar Hillman and to Thelma Sevilla, the Deputy Director of the organization, as well as Alan Figueroa, and he's, as we know, is the registrar. They did a fantastic job. I like that special thing that Alan mentioned, that he, at the last minute, got someone in there within 24 to 48 hours. That is amazing. I want to thank all of you on behalf of the families, so my family and all the other families here, and also the gentleman from Switzerland. That is a long journey, sir. And I'm glad you can make it. And they were recognized today on behalf of the Filipino American World War II veterans, that they recipients to receive their award of the Congressional Gold Medal, which is the highest, as you know, medal that can be bestowed upon an individual by the United States Congress. They traveled a long ways. I'm also very, very grateful to my brother Arlen. If it wasn't for him taking the initiative to actually file the paperwork, and get it done and follow it through, I probably wouldn't be here today speaking to you. Thank you, Arlen. As a young child, I grew up, and my dad, he talked about the war a little bit, but he didn't really mention very much. I remember him saying he was shot at. I remember him talking about General MacArthur, and they had a convoy. I remember him talking about the Jeeps being, little on the side of the bullets. But that's about it. And for whatever reason, he didn't really elaborate. He didn't really want to talk about it. But I can only imagine what went through his mind, knowing that tens of thousands of Filipino soldiers, American soldiers, died, defending their homeland and the United States of America. So that is something that, as a Vietnam combat veteran, I can kind of understand what he was going through. A lot of times they don't want to talk about it. But today we officially recognize their acts of heroism and valor. These were brave soldiers. Again, I am honored to speak on behalf of the recipients and their families who received this prestigious gold medal. Thank you for helping commemorate a very historic event. Thank you.
Thank you, Art. And thank you to the family who came here today, traveled so far, took the time to submit their father's application because many documents have been destroyed, but that is one of the requirements. You need to submit proof of service. I'd like to invite Major Ruben Argel and also Major Alan Acosta because they will be doing the flag ceremony, flag presentation, and Battle Cross Memorial.
General Hillman, Sergeant Major Alba, Sergeant Major Figueroa, fellow veterans. I'm Lieutenant Colonel Ruben Argel from 8th Medical Brigade, 3rd Medical Command. I have just returned from Afghanistan from an 11-month deployment, and I am in a room full of heroes over here, and I'm very humbled to be standing in front of you. And with that, we are very, very thankful that the Filipino Scout Heritage Society, through this chapter, supported our brigade during our deployment, adopting us and providing us care packages, which meant a lot to us downrange. So we've brought a couple of token of appreciation to present to them. But before that, Colonel Gregory Fraser would like to say some kind words in the
Good afternoon, distinguished guests, ladies, families. It's an honor to be here, like Colonel Arnold said, and I had the opportunity to serve with him. We were on different teams, but we were in regular contact. So the unit we deployed with was from Staten Island, New York, and I'm extremely honored to be here today representing the command team and the soldiers of our task force. This was my 4th mobilization and my 3rd deployment overseas, and I can personally attest to the importance of maintaining a connection back home. This connection takes many forms, such as co-workers, friends, and family members. During our deployment, our task force was adopted by the Columbus chapter of the Philippine Scouts. They coordinated their support efforts with our family readiness leader, Jasmine Argel. I know both the Scouts and Miss Argel volunteered many hours preparing packages to ensure our team had that connection back home. It's amazing how something seemingly so simple, such as a snack and holiday decorations, can have such an impact to your morale. For those of you that have deployed to the Middle East, you're probably aware that the predominant color is brown. So you can imagine to my surprise when I received a Christmas package that had a small mini green Christmas tree in it. My team and I used those Christmas trees to brighten up our office space, and it gave us holiday cheer and made us feel a little more connected, not only to each other, but to our family members back home. Mrs. Argel also communicated with our family members on a regular basis, just to check in with them, to see how they were doing, to make sure that they were also doing well with our separation. She also distributed and sent out a monthly newsletter that had pictures of us in various events, various situations, just to, again, keep that connection with us and our family members. Our task force had a very successful mission, and we brought all our soldiers home. This is a direct reflection to the efforts of Ms. Argel and the Philippine Scouts. Your efforts directly contributed to our success. So on behalf of the soldiers and family members of Task Force 8 Medical, I would like to extend a huge thank you. If you are part of the Philippine Scouts or Family Readiness Group to support us, can you stand? I'd like to give a round of applause to the group. All right, can you go over to
Can I please have, sir, your staff for the Philippine Scouts group over here? Your officers?
I'm the national president, and Al Kosho is the Columbus chapter president, so I'll turn it over to him.
I want to introduce a few of those. I asked people who not just were officers, but were heavily involved just personally. So this is Jesse McCarl, a longtime resident, and the McCarl name is very prominent in Lakewood. Everyone should know by now, Sergeant Major Alan Figueroa. And our transplant from Hawaii has now become our family member, Lenore Noble. You know her. Some of you are students of her. She's an educator, principal, and school administrator all over Tacoma. So she's well known in this community.
I'm going to go ahead and read the citation. Presented to the Philippine Scouts Heritage Society, Columbus Chapter, Tacoma, Washington. This is to certify that this American flag was flown on January 10, 2019 by the Tactical Command Post Afghanistan. This flag flew above the free skies of the American base located in Bagram Airfield, Afghanistan during Operation Freedom Sentinel. This flag represents the sovereign power of the United States of America, an indomitable will of the men and women who keep our country safe, whether through acts of service or the ultimate sacrifice on behalf of the cause of freedom. We will never forget them as we honor their courage, dignity, and broken spirit, as we will never forget your commitment and support. Signed, Lieutenant Colonel Ruben Arjo, Task Force Medical. The next flag was flown in Kuwait, presented to the Philippine Scouts Heritage Society, Columbus Chapter. This flag of the United States of America was flown over Camp Arif John, Kuwait, in support of Task Force 8 Medical in the United States Army Central Command during the Operation Spartan Shield on the 25th day of June, 2019. To all who shall see this presence and greetings, the flag of the United States of America, accompanying the certificate, has been proudly flown over Camp Asalaya, Qatar, on the 4th of July, 2019, in honor of the Philippine Scouts Heritage Society, in grateful appreciation for support of Operation Spartan Shield. Signed, Stephen Clayton, Colonel, Commanding. Followed by Major General.
I got promoted, thank you. I was like that. Where's Jasmine, Coach? Is he around?
Here.
You know, Jasmine, I wrote her citation or what described her. You know, a dedicated military wife, in charge of taking care of soldiers. We call it downrange in theater of operation. And she balanced her life. 2 kids in school, husband fighting the war, or taking care of the kids. So while Ruben, I call him Ruben, Lieutenant Colonel Ruben Archer, was downrange, you know, and I see in these awards, he received a Combat Action Badge. That award is equivalent to Combat Infantry Badge, except Combat Infantry Badge are only for infantry people. The others are Combat Action Badge. You know, that's very hard news, you know, for a wife like my mom who said, your husband was involved directly with enemy combat operations. So make it sure, you know, the Army made a miniature combat action badge. And I'm going to present one. Come up here, Jasmine.
Just because a very dedicated military wife. Nervous about Ravi, I'm not going to take the time but we love you. You're a great kid. You're doing everything right. Thank you.
Again, we got one more last presentation. On behalf of Hero Promise, I'm the Executive Director. I took over this year. We serve Gold Star families and we remember the fallen. So what we do also is take care of the final resting place of our soldiers. A lot of people don't know about the boarding home and also Oklahoma, but a lot of our fallen comrades are buried in private and public cemeteries. And we make sure that their final resting place is one of honor. And we make sure that it's up to code on state and federal level. And we do it free of charge for the families. And on behalf of Hero Promise, we've gotten the opportunity to work with the Philippine Scout Heritage Society for the last 2 years, and we've been eternally grateful for this involvement with them. I know the last month I've given some a lot of logistics and historical research on behalf. As you know, I've accepted 2 gold medals, Congressional gold medals on behalf of my family. One of them was in Palawan. And if anybody knows the geography of the Philippines, Palawan is right there in the South Philippine Sea. The other member was in the jungles of Indonesia. And so just imagine the logistics of coming out trying to transport all those paperwork here back to the States, and the Philippine Scouts Heritage Society and their board members having to go through that and then getting it back in confirmation. We are going to replicate this event in the Philippines on behalf of the Philippine Scouts here in Washington, in this region, to present those gold medals directly to my uncles. And in the last couple months around Baguio City, they also opened up a part of the museum in dedication to the Filipino Scouts and the history of those brave men and women that served during that time frame. Again, on behalf, I'm going to give it back to Clay. We wanted to present the Battle Cross on behalf of the Hero Promise to the Philippine Scouts.
Thanks, Alan. My name is Clay Williams. I'm the founder, and this is my family: Gina, Gary, Justin, Angel, co-founder. The Battle Cross, the helmet, the dog tag signify the person, their name, their face, what they sacrificed. These dog tags have Joe Kaluga Sr. for the Joe Kaluga Sr. chapter of the Philippine Scout Heritage Society. The inverted cross is a time of silence and a time of prayer for our brothers and sisters that gave the ultimate sacrifice and kept on fighting. The boots are for their final battle, their last march. And I'd like to bring Angel up. She's going to be, got something to say, and then
I'm not real good at speeches, so I'm going to have to read mine, sorry. Good evening. We just want to thank the ladies and gentlemen and Filipino Scouts that are present here. I know it's a dying breed. But thank you for inviting and having a Hero's Promise here today. We're truly grateful. As Clay said, my name is Angel. I'm the Director of Services for Hero's Promise. We're here today to present the Filipino Scouts World War II Memorial, the Soldier's Cross of the Philippine Scouts to the Philippine Scouts Heritage Society. If you guys would come and accept this on our behalf. We're also putting together an album. I don't know if anybody went by our table and seen our album out there, but it's filled with Filipino veterans, those who served, past, present, and serving now. This is something that we'll take around with us to every event we go to with our other battle crosses. And we want to get more Filipinos, veterans, in our book. So we can show that you guys are not forgotten. And we just want to remember you and dedicate this to the Filipino Scout Heritage Society.
On behalf of the Philippine Scouts Religious Junior Chapter, I accept this honor and thank you very much. I trust it in your good hands to take it around and show what we've done and what we have to do still. I want to thank Costa and the family, our new family that we just met for the last 2 years. I also want to thank Colonel Frazier for coming up here from Vancouver, there. And he's part of family too. His wife is Filipina. And we've started the legacy. Our children are deploying. Our son also served in Iraq. My son-in-law. So it's a proud tradition. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. It was kind of nice sitting in the back. So I have just a few words as part of our closing remarks. Then I'd like to share a prayer with all of you, which was delivered at the convocation in the Emancipation Hall at Congress, the Capitol building. So before I say that, I'd like to share with you that the Congressional Gold Medal is not an everyday award. When I reflect back as to what this was in my own personal life and in the life of my fathers and his colleagues, and what he sacrificed to come to the United States, it really, really hits home. So I ask this of all of you, that you go back home and you think and reflect on yourself and how you got here. I try to share with my children, my grandchildren. I wasn't born here, and if I was still living in the Philippines, I wouldn't have the kind of life that I have here. I wouldn't have met the folks that I have met. My being involved with the Filipino veterans and veterans issues for the past 20 plus years has given me a lot of appreciation for the people who take the time to learn about their roots, about our justice system, and about our armed forces. It has given me the opportunity to know how our Congress works, how difficult it is to pass a bill. Fortunately for the legislation for the Congressional Gold Medal, it took a surprisingly short 2 years. Previous bills have been decades. So take that opportunity as a young person to learn about our legislative process and what our representatives in Congress are doing for us. This is a prayer Congressional Gold Medal Award. It was delivered by Dr. Barry Black of the Senate. I modified it a little bit for our occasion. Lord, we thank you for what our eyes have seen this day, for what our ears have heard, and for what our hearts have felt. Thank you for this 2019 Congressional Gold Medal Award ceremony and for the memory of the Filipino and Americans we honor today. Thank you for this opportunity to honor our Filipino and American veterans of World War II. Remind us that we now live in safety because of their sacrifices. Lord, while we recognize and honor these veterans with such an earthly blessing as this Congressional Gold Medal, may they also receive heaven's blessing for their selfless sacrifices and love of country. Lord, forgive us for the belated nature of this recognition. In the days to come, bless and keep each award recipient. Give them hindsight to know where they've been and foresight to know where they're going. O God, bless America, shed your grace upon her, crown her good with brotherhood and sisterhood from sea to shining sea. We pray this in your wonderful name. Amen. I'd like to invite Roger and his group to share 1 or 2 songs for us, and you're welcome to stay and listen, or you're welcome to process out. And thank you, and have a wonderful afternoon.